What's up? What's up? Johnny Mega 45 here. Welcome back to Horse Party Blood, right? That's right. The last episode we have played Extra Chapter 3, where we have seen some relationship between Kai and Yuya. So without wasting our time, let's play more Extra Chapter 4. Shoo! Blood Right Extra Chapter 4. Memories like beautiful dreams. Oh, this scene! Remember at the end of the chapter 2, where before Haruyuki killed Aiko here? I don't know how Aiko survived, but Haruyuki could. Through my hazy vision, all I could see was a red pair of eyes cutting through the darkness like flames. I could barely breathe, and I kept drifting in and out of consciousness. I wonder why. Why, at a time like this, would that sticker photo I kept on my desk be the first thing to pop into my mind? They are your best friends, Aiko-chan. I know they say your life flashes before your eyes before you die, but this was only a single page from my past, albeit a very dear one.
夢のような一日だったわ。
I could hear their laughter in the back of my head. The sky was a beautiful crimson purple fusion, and the sweetness of that cake from the cafe was still on my tongue as we entered the photo booth.
いつの間にこんなことになったの。私は何かどこかで間違ったのかしら。
Somehow, the answers to these questions seems less interesting to me by the moment as events from my past replay themselves within me. It was like I'd gone back in time. A flashback time. And then, all of a sudden, the sound of a door being thrown open brought me back to my senses. Naho-chan.
さやかー、買ってきたよさやか。お待たせさやか。寂しくはなかったかな。待ちくたびれて泣いてたんじゃないのかな。
うるさいわね、犬丸。ナホタンが寝てるんだから。静かにしなさいよ。
Ow! I heard every word and raised my head to survey the situation. Though I first regained my focus by staring at the clock above the blackboard, which slowly registered in my newly awakened mind as indicating it was now 4 o'clock.
寝すぎたかしら。
I must have been exhausted from working on that draft late into the night, but with the deadline fast approaching, I had little other choice. I also must have been out for a really long time as I had absolutely no memories of anything from 6 billion. I look around me, but the only other people in this room were Sayaka and Inumaru. All we thought on Naho-chan's perspective.
ごめんね、ナホタン。起こしちゃった。もっと寝ててもいいんだよ。
Sayaka seems to have noticed I woke up and was running over to check on me, but I was just shook my head first to indicate no, they're much harder to shake off the drowsiness.
大丈夫。それよりさやか、私が起きるのを待っていたの。待たせちゃってごめんね。なんでナホタンが謝るの？もう、私とナホタンの中でそんな遠慮はなしだよ。
Sayaka flashes me an overzealous false smile, which I returned, thought mine was quite natural. Hers probably was too, actually though. I couldn't say for sure. Either way, it was super cute.
ところで犬丸、頼んだものはどこ？
The tone in her voice changed completely, and her smile disappeared too, now that she was addressing Inumaru instead of me.
さやかがその細くて可憐な手を差し伸べてくれたなら、俺はどんな質問にも心を込めて答えさせてもらうよ。 そう。例えば、俺がさやかをどれだけ愛しているかについて、とかね。
そういうのほんといいから。頼んだものはどこなのって聞いてるの。
いつもの恥ずかしがりがまた出たね。まったく、いつになったらさやかは素直になってくれるのかな。
Haruyuki Inumaru was our mutual classmate and a childhood friend of Sayaka's. Everything he did for Sayaka. His whole world seems to revolve around her, and sometimes she played along, making his day, but that hadn't happened for a while now. He had the blood of an Izumo priest running through his veins, which gave him a considerable amount of spiritual ability, though he never seems to have like having that brought up. Never seems to like having that brought up.
さやか、何か犬丸くんに頼んでたの？うん、おやつ。なおたんも一緒に食べよう。いいけど、ここで？
If you're hungry, you should just eat on the way home. That's what I always been taught. Though actually we did eat on the way home all the time, so I guess this particular hunger somehow ran deeper.
どうしてもね、お腹が空いちゃって。我慢できないから、ここで食べたいなって。
Yes, Sayaka, I'm also hungry right now.
さやか、持ってきたよ。
Inumaru, who left the room without our knowledge a few seconds earlier, suddenly buzzed back in with a flashback caught in towels, squeaking away. And I could hardly believe what was on it.
じゃっじゃーん。どうだいさやか、すごい量だろ。
Boxes and boxes of fatty, sugary, pre-packaged foods lined every square inch of the transport.
ケーキにワッフル、ドーナツ。あ、最近できたばかりのプレッツェル屋さんの箱も。
No, don't say Fraser. I'm hungry for Auntie Anne. And to that, cookie, pies, macarons, even ice cream. He had all the bases covered for sure.
やったー美味しそう。いただきます。
To my surprise, Saika beelined for one of the boxes, setting in motion what may have been the biggest bean I ever seen. Box after box was packed before her, many before she even sat down.
うん。甘い。幸せ。
Saika was ingesting these fatty, sugary, processed foods at an alarming rate. I never seen one person eat so much food she shouldn't in such a short period of time.
さやか、どうしたの？あ、もちろんなほたんも食べてね。どれも美味しいよ。そんなにお腹が空いていたの？そうなの。甘いものがとにかく食べたくってね。カロリーが心配だけど、でも食べたいんだから仕方ないよね。まさかこれ全部食べるつもり
？I was legitimately scared by the sheer quantity of sweets still stacked on the cart. I mean, I love candy as much as the next person, but I was practically getting heartburn just looking at this massive haul.
ちゃんと全部食べるよ。ちょっとさやか、本気なの？
いい食べっぷりだな。足りなくなったら言ってね、さやか。すぐに追加を買ってくるから。
何を言ってるの、犬丸くん。こんなに食べさせたら、さやかが太ってしまうじゃない。
心配ご無用だよ、さえのきさん。さやかなら、どれだけふくよかになっても可愛いに決まってるからね。
Amazing, Inumaru-kun.
ああ、でも、抱きしめた時に両腕が届くくらいまでにしてもらえると、俺としては嬉しいんだけど。
バカみたいなこと言ってないで、そっちの箱取って、犬丸。
はい、喜んで。あ、なんなら、あんしてあげるよ。ほら、マカロンを食べさせてあげよう。
それ、犬丸の手垢がついたからいらない。あんた食べてね。
やったー！さやかが俺におやつをくれた
ほんと、かわいそうな人。
Inumaru was now holding the macaron close to his eye with a joyous expression on his face. I couldn't bear to look at him anymore, so I turned my attention back to Sayaka. I studied her as she continued to engorge herself, trying to determine how someone so typically mild-mannered would have wound up in such a state. This was decidedly not normal behavior for her in any way. Something was definitely off.
それにしても、何か違和感があるのだけれど。
The longer I stared at her, the more I was able to make out a faint shadow wavering just behind her.
レイ？
It was a low-level spirit, one that could easily slip by unnoticed if a highly trained observer would look very, very closely. Specifically, it was the spirit of a little girl, and its attachment to Sayaka was quite weak. It wouldn't take a lot of effort to exorcise.
うかつね。気づかなかったわ。
I was now fully convinced that Sayaka's superhuman appetite originated from that little girl.
さやか、礼を払うわ。じっとしていて。
I produced a tiny smile from my bag and was just about to throw it down. But Sayaka quite aggressively shook her head at the notion.
なほちゃんダメ！悪い例じゃないから。あのね、この子、かわいそうなんだ。ずっと楽しみにしてた評判のスイーツを買った帰り道、居眠り運転の事故に巻き込まれて死んじゃったみたいでね。それ以来、美味しいスイーツが食べたくて仕方がなくて、成仏できないみたい。力がなさすぎて、長いこと人に取り付くこともできなくて、やっと元気を蓄えて取り付いたのが私だったんだよ。まさか、同情しているの？ダメよ、さやか。霊に心を寄せては。だけどなほちゃん、同じ女の子ならわかるでしょ？ずーっと楽しみにしてたスイーツを手に入れたのに食べられなかったんだよ。そんなのってないよね。それはまあ、わからなくはないけれど。
Sayaka, you're a sweet girl.
でしょ？だからね、私、この子が満足するまでスイーツを食べてあげなきゃって思うの。ほら、こうやって、はっ、甘いものを食べると、この子、幸せそうな顔するんだよ。
The girl behind Sayaka did seem genuinely pleased every time Sayaka popped something in her mouth. And there wasn't the slightest hint of malevolence from her. If anything, she projected a certain innocence that genuinely made even me kind of sympathize with her.
だからって、さやかが太るのは嫌。
Of course, Naho-chan still cared for Sayaka either way. One of my secret joys was admiring Sayaka's magazine spreads. She always wore the most beautiful clothes, exhibiting a true sense of style and a true understanding of fashion in every photograph. Though I could hardly say that out loud, it was much too embarrassing.
さやか、どんな例にせよ、取り憑かれた状態はあまり良くないわ。やっぱり、払った方がいいと思う。 ことはできそうにない子だから平気だよ。
If a person who's been possessed is covering for the spirits, that makes it so much more difficult, even potentially impossible. Low level or no, my hands were more or less tight.
犬丸くん、さやかを説得したいのだけれど、手伝ってくれる？
説得？どうして？
さやかに霊がついたままなんて、あなただって嫌でしょ？
そうだね。あまりいい気分はしないけど、でも霊に同情するさやかの心優しさに俺は感動してしまったんだ。
まさかあなたまで霊を払わなくていいと思っているの？
だってあの子は悪霊じゃないからね。
さやかがカロリー過多でモデルを辞めることになってしまっても、あなたは構わないの？
もちろん問題ないよ。さやかがそれでいいって言うなら俺もそれでいいんだ。俺とさやかの心は二人で一つだからね。
Yeah, legend man. Haruyuki kun.
あなたに相談した私がバカだったみたい。
My head began to hurt. Every second I watched Sayaka continue to devour her snacks, I became more and more inclined to stop her.
ここはもう強行策に出るしかない。
Sayaka might hate me for this, I thought, but that was a risk I was willing to take. My course of action decided upon, I took my stance and prepared to send that girl along to the ever after. But before I could even begin the chant, an unexpected visitor arrived. Aiko-chan. The classroom door was wide open and there she stood, the infamous Aiko Niwa, wearing a unique combination of kimono and school uniform. Yeah, a legend woman. She was self-proclaimed intelligence agent from class 3-5, and she has a lot of tendency that I found distasteful. But she's beautiful, by the way. I love Aiko-chan. Specifically, she seems to live for collecting spirit items and just in general came across as a bit shady and manipulative. Or at least that's how I always seen her. So she was introduced on this chapter, in this extra chapter. We don't know because at the moment she just popped out in the chapter 0 like out of nowhere, remember? So yeah, this is Aiko-chan.
Aiko-chan!
Mouth full of donuts, Sayaka noticeably did her best to acknowledge the presence of this new arrival. She wasn't particularly fond of Aiko, however, as the two of them had butt heads previously. But Sayaka had a general love of beautiful girls, and Aiko ranked fairly high on her beauty scale, so she always seems a little conflict about that.
Aiko, 何しに来たの？
あら、そう冷たい声を出さないで、なほちゃん。
Naho-chan?
私はただ帰ろうと思って階段を降りていたら甘い香りが漂ってきたから気になっただけよ。そうしたらなほちゃんたちに出くわしたの。これって運命かしら。
愛子さん、なほちゃんに色目使わないでください。
Yes, Aiko love Naho-chan.
まあ、そんなことしてないわ。言いがかりはよしてね、さやかちゃん。
愛子、さやかを煽らないで。
そんなつもりはないのだけど。
あのね、今はあなたの相手をしている暇はないの。
そうなの？
She tilted her head and examined the card full of sweets, then compared its size to Sayaka's tiny frame.
あらあら、さやかちゃんは女力士役のオファーでも来たのかしら。
さやかが女力士。
What are you thinking, Haruyuki-kun? Sayaka seems confused and Inumaru seemed disturbingly intrigued. I just ignored them both and let out a huge sigh.
愛子、よく見て。さやかの後ろに霊がいるでしょ。
あら、そう言われて てみればまあ随分と影の薄い霊だこと。
その子がさやかに取り付いて、これだけのスイーツを食べさせているのよ。払いたいのに、さやかが協力的じゃなくて困っていたところなの。
そういうことだったの。ならちょっと見せてもらえるかしら。
Aiko cautiously approached Saka and observed the spirit's behavior for a moment. Aiko's passion was the collection of spirit items infused with deep hatred or malice. So if this little girl would be a little darker than she's seen, Aiko will undoubtedly snatch her away on the spot.
スイーツに執着心があるのね。そう。それで自己死についてはどう思っているのかしら。さぞ無念だったのでしょう。相手を殺してやりたいとか呪ってやるとか考えているのではなくて。そう？じゃあ誰かで構わず同じ目に遭えばいいなんて風には思わない？あら、そうなの。
Aiko broke off the conversation shortly after this exchange and walked back toward me with slumber shoulders.
ダメね。全然なってないわ。せっかく霊になったというのに、美味しいスイーツが味わえれば満足なのですって。信じられる？なほちゃん。彼女、何も恨んでないっていうのよ。ありえないでしょ。そんな霊に存在価値はないわ。
Aiko had completely lost interest, and she didn't seem to care that the little girl had heard every word she said. The spirit was on the verge of tears, shrinking back behind Saka to distance herself as much as possible from this hostile new presence.
そこまで愛子が言うってことは、本当に悪意は皆無なんでしょうね。だからね、ほんとかわいそうな子なんだよ。分かってあげて、なほたん。
Saka spoke with a bit of staccato, her lips sticky with apple pie residue.
でもさやか、そのまま食べ続けてたら大変でしょ？そうかな。
さやかちゃんはその霊がかわいそうだから除霊はしなくていいと考えているのね。そうなの。なほちゃんがこんなに心を痛めているのに、あなたはその霊に味方をするというわけなのね。ねえ、なほちゃん、さやかちゃんたらひどいわね。
Oh no, Aiko, don't! Aiko smiled and sidled out next to me. She was clearly plotting something. She took my hand in hers and wrapped her fingers around it, then delicately.
あなたの気持ちを無下にする子なんて放っておいて、私とデートしましょう、なほちゃん。
Ah, that's cute. I love Nao-chan. I mean Aiko-chan.
そんなのダメ！
Saka immediately shot to her feet, knocking over her chest in the process. And just like that, she no longer had the slightest interest in any part of the mountain of candy that lay sprawled out before her. This sudden shift separated the spirit from Saka as if the cord had been cut on a kite.
なほたん、デートするなら私としよう。今日は放課後オフだから。ね、構わないけど。やったー！なほたんとデート！
Sayaka hugged me excitedly and I was overjoyed. It's always nice knowing how much other people really care about you. But then, for a brief moment, my eyes locked with those of the little girl's spirits floating in the air, and that's all it took.
いけない。
The spirit was quicker to act than I was to realize what I had done. By the time I had it, it was too late. She was already waiting me. Oh no, she's gonna eat. Instantly, my stomach emptied. I was massively hungry, the hungriest I ever been.
さやか、ごめん。ちょっとデータ待って。私それ食べないと。
I flew over to Sayaka's chair and threw open one of the snack boxes. Jet bar, it was full of custard-filled cream puffs. I grabbed one and just shoved it into my mouth, with absolutely no regard for manners or manners. The rich custard melted in my mouth and the light, delicate aroma filled my nostrils. But rather than sating my appetite, this delicious temptation only made it stronger.
おいしい。
あらあら、今度はあの子なほちゃんについちゃったのね。
ほんとだ。なほちゃん大丈夫？
I had neither the time nor the desire to answer her question. I was too busy moving my hands and mouth, either eating sweets or formulating a game plan to eat further sweets more efficiently, but I couldn't exactly leave her hanging.
大丈夫。
After every bite, the girl possessing me expressed pure, absolute gratitude. I heard whisper from her to the effect of, "I'm so happy, and thank you so much," and I immediately realized this could be a real problem.
さやかが同情するのも仕方ないのかも。
The desire to continue eating, no matter what, made this spirit ever girl's worst enemy, and the worst part was, you just couldn't say no to her. She was too relatable. Rarely had I ever encountered a spirit who elicited such sympathy that its host would choose not to part with it.
こっちのエクレアも美味しい。さやかはもういいの？私もうお腹いっぱい。っていうか、こんなに食べたっけ？
The number of open and empty boxes was either astounding or sickening depending on your viewpoint.
さやか、見ていて気持ちのいい食べっぷりだったよ。
間違いなく体重が増えるでしょうね。楽しみだわ。お腹のぷよぷよ、ぜひ触らせてちょうだいね。
ダメです。私は触られるより触りたい派ですから。
そうだったの、さやか。それじゃ今までは遠慮してたんだね。いいんだよ。俺をもっと触って、撫でて、抱きしめてくれたって。
Amazing! Haruyuki could.
今そんな話はしてないでしょ。
Ouch! Inumaru was quickly knocked to the floor. Sayaka then ran past him over to me.
なほちゃん、それ以上食べないで。太るの反対。そんなこと言われても、食べたくて仕方がないのだもの。なほたんが太っちゃうなんてやだ。それは私も困るけど。
But my hunger could not be easily sated. My hands wouldn't just stop grabbing candies and sweet and desserts one after another.
さやかが望むなら、俺があの礼を払おうか？
でも、払うのは、やっぱりかわいそう。他に方法はないの？
憑依を剥がすこともできるけど、あの霊を放っておけばまた別の誰かに取り付くだろうね。
さやかちゃんが なほちゃん以外はどうなってもいいというのであれば、それでもいいんじゃないかしら。
それも困ります。どうしたらいいの？
Sayaka took a contemplative stance, holding her head in her hands as she attempted to suss out a possible solution to this problem. And it didn't take her longer to brainstorm something.
そうだ！成仏してもらえばいいんじゃない？
レイが満足するまでスイーツを食べ続けてもらうの？でも、それって今の状況と何ら変わりないわよね。
さやかとさえのきさんでだいぶ食べてるけど、まだ満足はしていないみたいだしね。
どれだけの量を食べたらあの子が満足するのか想像できないわ。
そうじゃなくて、あの子が食べられなかったのって美味しくて有名なスイーツだったんです。だから生前あの子が食べたことがないぐらい美味しいスイーツを味わえれば成仏するんじゃないかなって。ああ、なるほど。
The spirit seems to be in agreement as well. She was nodding furiously. Sorry, even she had considered this plan previously, but she was clearly all aboard now.
近くに美味しいって評判のスイーツ屋さんなかったっけ？
Yeah, I know one place.
この近所のスイーツならほとんど俺が買ってきたよ。さやかへの愛ゆえにね。
それでも成仏しないんだから、もっと美味しいものじゃないとダメってことなんだろうな。なほたん、どこかいいお店知ってる？猫カフェなら。
No, that won't do.
それはまた今度、二人でデートするときに行こうね。
Oh, come on. Sayaka rejected my suggestions. Not that it was particularly likely to appease the spirit anyway, since the true point of the cafe wasn't its sweetness, but its compelling companions.
ねえなほちゃん、それならやっぱり私とデートしましょう。
Oh, come on. 何? A ticket was handed to me, presented with a certain flair that suggested it must have been something special.
カフェ、ホルタース？
That was the name, and the ticket also bought the date, as well as a 5:30 p.m. timestamp.
それは。
Sayaka clearly recognized the significance of what I just been handed.
隣の駅前の予約だけで1年待ちって評判のカフェホルタースの予約チケットなんですって？
The piece of cake I'd been eating fell from my now and came out and crumbled onto the floor. I remember hearing about this place during a TV feature.
開店当初、予約待ちの列が駅前を埋め尽くしたっていう
しかもこれ今日の予約じゃないですか。
愛子さん、どうしたんですかこれ？
お客様になり損ねた方から取り上げたのよ。
Aiko said this in a coy, playful voice, clearing riding the waves of Sayaka's excitement. She continued in this manner, outlining her story in greater detail.
頼まれていた情報を渡したら1円も払わずに連絡がつかなくなった方がいてね。そんなのってあんまりでしょ？だから滞納した分の利子も含めて貯金その他お金になりそうなものは片っ端から回収させてもらったの。
片っ端からですか？
そう。このチケットもその中の一つってこと。売りさばこうにも今日しか使えないチケットだし、それならたまには親しい人たちと美味しいものを食べたいわ。
Yes.
親しい人たち。
なほちゃんはもちろんだけど、さやかちゃんとはるゆきくんもご招待したいわ。どうかしら。
いいんですか？
これを機に親睦を深めたいところね。
だって
さやかが行くなら俺も行くよ。どこまでもついていくよ。だから安心してね、さやか。
あんたはお呼びじゃないってば。
Ouch! Asaka beat the ever-loving snot out of Inumaru again. I took this opportunity to glance over at Aiko and study her for any signs of ulterior motive.
親しい人たちと言われるほど、あなたと仲良くしたことはないと思うのだけれど。
I have known Aiko for a while, but mostly just as a colleague in supernatural studies. I never gone out with her, nor even sat in and drunk tea with her like I frequently would with Sayaka.
あら、なほちゃん。その目は何かしら。
アイコ、何を企んでいるの？
何も企んでなんていないわ。たまにはレーグではなく、人間のおしゃべりに付き合ってお茶を楽しみたいと思っただけよ。
そう？
ええ。それにね、なほちゃん。
Suddenly she was right next to me, and with her porcelain-like fingers, she lifted the strawberry from the shortcake I was eating.
私たち親友ですものね。放課後にお茶をするくらいいいでしょ。
親友？
はい、
Instinctively, I did open my mouth, at which point the strawberry was gently placed on my tongue, and I found myself swallowing it without hesitation.
なほちゃんたら口元に生クリームがついているわよ。
She brought her finger out to my lips and wiped the cream from them. After which point she stuck that same finger in her own mouth, savoring the second-hand cream she scored.
甘さ控えめで美味しいわね。
何するのよ。メロハーン。美少女同士のアンクルの生クリーム。
Sayaka shrieked and held her nose, presumably to keep it from bleeding, which did seem to be a real concern given how red her face had gone.
すっごくメロハーンな光景でごちそうさまでした。でもダメ、アイコさん、ナホタンにこれ以上手を出さないで。さやか。
Sayaka burst between me and Aiko and hugged me with ferocious intensity. Her fresh citron perfume thicker than inside of my nose has a supple breast, roughly the same size as my own presses up against my face. Which made it kind of hard to breathe for a moment.
さやか、苦しい。ごめんね、ナホタン。でもこうでもしないと、ナホタンまたアイコさんにあーんってされちゃうもん。されないから。
二人とも相変わらず仲良しなのね。焼けちゃうわ。
Aiko False Positive voice was only making matters worse. With Sayaka and I was getting more and more fed up with the whole situation. Which is about when I realized that my body had grown lighter.
憑依が取れた？
My concern was suffocating to death on Sayaka's boobs, since they have diverted my attention away from all the delicious sweets. And sure enough, it only took a moment of scanning the area around me to see the spirit girl floating freely, looking a bit concerned. She seems to be trying to decide between Aiko and Inumaru, the latter of who was on the ground holding his stomach. Naturally, she chose to possess Inumaru this time.
甘いものが食べたい。
He quickly shot to his feet and ran full speed toward the remaining parts and boxes of candy and confectionaries.
もこれ、間違いなく太っちゃうね。こりゃ大変だ。さやか、メタボな俺でも愛してくれるよね。
こっち向いて。私からのあーんも食べてくれるよね。はい、口開けて。さやか、そういうのは、せめて他に人がいないところで。気にしなくていいんだよ、なほと。ほら、恥ずかしくないから、さあ。
あれ、さやか聞いてないね。あ、わかった。一緒にダイエットに励む方がいいのかな。それじゃあ、運動用にジャージを買いに行かなくっちゃね。どんなのがいいかな。やっぱりお揃いが。
勝手におかしな話を進めるのはやめて。
Ouch!
あなたたちっていつ見てもおかしいのね。見ていて飽きないわ。
And in this manner, the conversation devolved into pure anime tropes, remaining in such a state for the entire walk or to Cafe Hotel. Out of breath, we finally arrived at our destination only 5 minutes after the 5:30 reservation time, fashionably late, some might say. Save. Wait, where did I say last time? Oh yeah, I saved here. Extra chapter, second wing. Wait for a while, I need to take a break.